Is the Ryzen 3 3200G worth it, and should you buy it? Stay tuned to find out. AMD's Ryzen 3 3200G CPU is a 3.6 GHz CPU with Vega 8 graphics, which is the integrated graphics. It has 4 cores and 4 threads, 8 graphics cores, and 1250 MHz graphics frequency. Should you get the CPU? Short answer, yes. Why should you get the CPU? Reason number 1, if your budget does not allow for a GPU, then you would go for this APU. Reason number 2, if you do not have a PC and want to get in the PC world as soon as possible, then this will be a good start. Reason number 3, if you want to do light work, such as browsing and watching movies or videos on YouTube, which I do admit the CPU would be kind of overkill for this, but yeah, then you would get the CPU. And the last reason is, if you want to do a bit of light gaming, light video or photo editing, and also schoolwork, this CPU would best suit those tasks. Is the CPU worth it? Now this can be a bit complicated. AMD has another quad-core processor, which is the Ryzen 5 3400G. It's a 3.7 GHz CPU with Vega 11 graphics. It also has 4 cores and 8 threads, whereas Ryzen 3 3200G only has 4 cores and 4 threads, 11 graphics cores, and 1400 MHz graphics frequency. So it does beat the Ryzen 3 3200G in all aspects, but depending on which country you're in, the prices of these CPUs would be different for everyone. Now here's the thing, you will not be able to keep playing on an APU forever. At some stage you will want to try more demanding games or AAA games, for which you would need a dedicated GPU. So I would advise do try and save up for one as soon as you can. However, if you're fine with just playing esports games on low settings, then you do not need a dedicated GPU. For the latter situation, I would advise getting the Ryzen 5 3400G because this CPU beats the Ryzen 3 3200G in most aspects. But for the first situation, I would advise you to get the Ryzen 3 3200G. This is because you'll be able to save for a dedicated GPU faster than if you had gotten the Ryzen 5 3400G. Here in New Zealand, the Ryzen 3 3200G retails for about 174 New Zealand dollars, whereas the Ryzen 5 3400G retails for about 283 New Zealand dollars, with the price difference being approximately $100. If the price difference was lower, then I would advise to get the Ryzen 5 3400G, but in this case, I would advise New Zealand consumers to go for the Ryzen 3 3200G. If the price difference of these CPUs are low in your country, then I would advise you to go for the higher end one. If not, then go for the Ryzen 3 3200G. One last tip, if your PC budget allows for a GPU, then do not go for any APUs. Get a normal CPU without an integrated graphics card on it. This will ensure you have more processing power for your CPU. I hope this video was useful. If so, then please give it a like so the YouTube algorithm will push this video out to anyone that needs my help. If you have any questions, then please do comment down below, or if you feel like I could make some improvements in some areas, then please comment down below as well. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.
We'll be right back.